Hey everybody, Hostron here with another first edition Friday video. Let's take a look at what we're playing today.
Every Ferengi business transaction is governed by 285 rules of acquisition to ensure a fair and honest deal for all parties concerned. Well, most of them anyway. You worthless, tiny-eared fool. Don't you know the first rule of acquisition?
Yes, brother.
Then say it.
Once you have their money, you never give it back.
Exactly.
Yes, so the Ferengi. Everybody, wear your nicest suit. Be ready to sell out your family and get out those tooth sharpeners to make sure that you look your best. Because we're going to be Ferengi conferencing. This is a 2-mission win deck, though if you looked at the missions, you wouldn't probably guess that, because we're doing Know Your Enemy again. So again, to remind you of Know Your Enemy, seeds on table if your missions are all different and show less than 35 points at the end of each turn. If all your missions share an affiliation icon and you are not playing that affiliation nor Borg, you get to draw a card. So it's a single seed card draw engine for us. And we have available to us, since we're going to be playing the Ferengi homeworld, we could either do Feds, Klingons, or Dominion. So we're going to do Feds. So we got a Fed icon here in the mirror quadrant. We got a Fed icon here. We have our Fed icon in the gamma quadrant. And of course, with Research Historic Accident, here's our Fed icon. And here's our Fed icon on Secure Covert Transportation. So the premise of this deck is pretty simple. It is a 2-mission win deck. We are playing low value missions, and so our opponent's probably never going to guess that this is what we're going to try to pull off. But we're going to try to pull it off. We're going to have a conference about figuring out how we're going to do this. And so in this conference, the speaker is going to tell you how we're going to find an off-cell base. We're going to find that off-cell base in the Alpha Quadrant at a planet, and then we are going to go to either the Mirror Quadrant or we're going to go to the Gamma Quadrant, and that's going to get us 15 bonus points because we're going to solve one Alpha Quadrant mission for 30, and then an off-quadrant mission for another 30. That gets us to 60. The off-cell base gets us to 75. And then we'll have, we'll reward ourselves with some gold, because we're going to pass gold off to our opponent, and then we're going to make them want to pass it back to us. So there's another 10. And then we will also, and even if our opponent chooses to just hold on to the gold and refuses to give our gold back to us, we have a couple of options for still getting ourselves to 100 pretty easily. We're going to gamble a little bit, and since we're very heavy on personnel and events in this deck, and red dot icons even on Ferengi Conference, because there's a red dot icon here, we're pretty much, we're dang near 100%. The only thing that's a bad probe for us are the 2 hidden fighters, and one of those hidden fighters comes out of the deck immediately, and then the 5 ships. So other than that, once we're actually into the game, any given probe is 96% probably. So not going to be much gambling risk with Dabo. So we're going to be able to Dabo early and often, and that's going to get us some points. And then we also have 75th rule of acquisition, that we're going to stick at least one of these, hopefully at least stick one of these onto one of our acquisition personnel. And then they're going to use a skill to solve one of our off-quadrant missions, and that'll get us 10. And then we will also have multiple copies of 62nd rule of acquisition. So that's kind of what we're really trying to do with this deck, is we're going to go down the riskier road and get greater profit. We're going to stick one of these hopefully on our Alpha Quadrant mission. We're going to stick one of them on our Off Quadrant mission. We're only going to attempt with 3 to 7 people if we're able to. And then we're going to try to just kind of finesse our way through missions. And then we're going to be able to solve those missions for an additional 10 points. But then we're also going to be able to make our opponent lose points, which then means that we're definitely going to be setting our opponent back on their math. So that should hopefully extend the game and allow our Ferengi a little bit more time. Our card draw engines, as again, it's Know Your Enemy. We have a Study Divergent History that we're going to put on our guest quarters on Deep Space Nine. And then, of course, we have promenade shops that may randomly pull us one of our rules. That's also a kind of soft card draw engine. We're going to extend our draws with guest quarters a little bit better. And then we have the Celestial Temple as our third card draw, because we're going to download Grand Negazek with his orb icon, and he is not treachery, so he can relocate to the Celestial Temple. So Grand Negazek is going to get into the temple, and he's going to get his card draws there. So we actually have 3 single seed card draw engines in this deck, which is pretty good. With Know Your Enemy, Trust the Prophets getting that, and then Study Divergent History. So, yeah. This deck is actually surprisingly robust in how it operates, especially since with all these Ferengi conferences where we have the ability to select certain people to get into play. Well, I mean that, and of course, first rule of acquisition, getting us exactly the grand, which Grand Nagus we want. Because if we draw one of the 3 of them, then we can just choose one of the other ones to go get. If we happen to get Zek in our opening hand, we can go get Gint and have him download a rule. So we do have options in that regard. We have an additional free play engines. We have the Tower of Commerce getting us a Ferengi VIP civilian or Hyperion. We have Wardroom, which we're actually playing. Wardroom allows Gamma Quadrant non-aligned personnel to report here ignoring their Gamma Quadrant icon. They could also download and place a card play, but you draw no cards that turn. Once each turn, one such personnel may report for free if you have 2 VIP or personnel of 2 different affiliations. That's not hard for us to do because we're playing with Ferengi, and we actually download. We have a bunch of non-aligns. We have some non-aligns in the deck here, like Morn and so forth. But what really makes it interesting is that we can do, we can get Sarda. We get Sarda early with this deck. She can just put herself into non-aligned mode. So we have a Ferengi and a non-aligned. So it's a pretty cool way to get another free plate engine here, because we have Croden, and we have Rurigan, and we have Tosk, and Yedrin Dax, who are all good skill horses for us. But one of the key things about this deck that's important to understand is that our reopen trade negotiate discussions is probably our primary second mission that we want to do. But we only were able to fit 2 stellar cartography into the deck. So we solved that problem by putting in a temporal micro wormhole, which allows us to download Dr. Telek Ramor. And Dr. Telek Ramor has skills that we struggle with in this deck. He's science classification, which is important for beating persistent individuality, but he has stellar cartography, and he has 2 astrophysics, and he has a very relevant engineer and a very relevant honor. So he is just really good for this deck. And because we don't have to draw him in order to get him into play, We can just wait until it's relevant. Until we can literally just clear out that mission, and then we can just download him, and then we can reattempt and solve. And he's got the stellar cartography that we need, and so he's never at risk. And of course, acquisition is laughable, and we have 9 sources of diplomacy in this deck. So, most notably on each of our Grand Nagus, Zek has it. Grand Nagus Rom has it. I don't think Gint has it though. No, Gint doesn't have it, but 2 of our Grand Naguses do. And then of course we have, we're going to be using this version of Quark. He does not have diplomacy, but he has some pretty relevant skills. But we have 9 sources of diplomacy in this deck. What this deck struggles with, and I'm just going to say this right now, if cybernetics expertise was legal right now, I would have designed this deck differently, because we struggle with being able to get through persistent individuality, and we struggle to get through anything that requires officer and transporter skill. If we had access to free play androids, that's the way I would take this deck. So keep that in mind, everyone at home. If cybernetics expertise, when it comes back into the game, I would probably take this deck and redesign it and play androids with it instead. Because we don't have them available, we've had to kind of do some weird things with the design of this deck. We're playing with some Ferengis that I wouldn't otherwise play with in this deck because they don't play for free and they don't really have enough skills to make it worth it. We're playing with Damon Bach for his officer transporter skill. We're playing with Gozar here for his officer. He does have 6 skills, so he's sometimes worth it. But we had to put Solok's officer into the deck. We had to put in Lurin into this deck for his officer and transporter skill. Yeah. And then in the non-aligned side of it, we had to put Santos in as well. We had to put Santos in for his transporter skill. Yeah. But the fact is, though, is that what we were able to do is with some of these, especially like with Will Riker here, is that they are... yeah, so there's Will Riker. We got his transporter skill in the deck as well, and his officer. But like with Santos is downloadable with the cargo bay, because smuggling, acquisition, and non-aligned navigation may report here or download here in place of a normal card play. So that even includes the Ferengi. So you can download Ferengi smuggling or acquisition personnel, and so that gets us. That's what kind of gets us the off ones like Gozar, is that we can just download Gozar with his acquisition if we need a diplomacy or officer. So we do have some Dyla skill here, a little bit of Dyla skill thanks to the docking ports. But one of the ways we kind of get around some of the weakness of this deck, so if our opponent puts or if we anticipate our opponent putting a persistent individuality at one of our space missions, what we have is Transporter Mix-Up of all things. Transporter Mix-Up comes into play for free during the seed phase via Research Historic Accident. And what it does is it allows up to 4 if up to 4 of your personnel are beaming up here from a planet in their native quadrant. You may discard them by downloading an equal number of others to complete the transport. Each universal personnel must be replaced by a universal personnel native to the opposite quadrant. Others may be replaced only by their opposite versions of the personas. So what we actually have here are 2 mirror quadrant personnel. We have Kari, who has officer, and we have Sealot, who has medical. And they provide us a couple of classifications that we otherwise struggle with in this deck. And so between them and then being able to, if we need to, download Dr. Telekra more, but we also have like Galen and some other people in here. We have the ability to kind of get all the classifications covered for the most part. If you really need to, you can download, not Morn, sorry. We can download Rurigan for his engineer through the wardroom. Yedrin Dax can be downloaded for his science if you want to not do him instead of Telekra more. There's lots of ways that we can cover things, but it's just difficult. So, all right, so that's more or less the deck. We'll go ahead and take a look at it in action. So I have a game set up here ready to go. We're not going to play the opponent's side this time. There really isn't much use for doing that. We're just going to play our side of it. I did do a fake seed phase, or I did a seed phase in the mission with missions and stuff like that, so we could kind of create a realistic space line here. Our opponent, just the way the missions came out, our opponent did interweave us a little bit, but that's okay. You're going to see why here in a moment why that's okay, as long as we as long as we had a certain number or lower come up between Ferenginar and Deep Space Nine, we're going to be fine. So we did get Ferenginar kind of pushed away from Deep Space Nine, but it's not the end of the world. So we got a planet mission in between Ferenginar and Deep Space Nine, so our off-cell base is seated underneath secure covert transportation. Of our Alpha Quadrant missions, it is probably the second best option for us. Realistically, Investigate Dead Planet is, oddly enough, our best possible mission for us to try to solve. Historic Accident here is probably our worst one to do, but it's not difficult. It's just, all things being equal. And just so that we're all clear, we don't have a way to deliver message, but our opponent won't know that, and so they still have to put dilemmas there. They might even think to put their best dilemmas there because they might think that that's what we're trying to do first, because we have a center of power. Reporting is probably going to happen there. So you can modify the deck if you want to try to solve it. When it came down to it, the push and pull of what we needed for seed cards and stuff like that, I wanted to also limit myself to just 12 seed cards or less. You can always pull a dilemma and just put in the HQ Secure Homeworld, and you could just put the HQ Secure Homeworld into the draw deck. It's not a problem. So it's an easy fix, but for the purposes of this deck in this video, I went ahead and just let it slide because we want to do one of these other missions, which are much easier for us than trying to do Secure Homeworld. So, all right, so we'll shuffle and we'll get going here. All right, this is not a bad draw. This is not a bad draw at all. We have a rule, and we have a conference. We have a free play of a personnel that's a high value early target. We have and then we even have free plays that are going to come up. So this is actually a pretty decent hand. We just didn't get a Grand Nagus, but that's okay. So we'll just assume that we're going first. I did the die roll. Well, it's not assume. We actually will go first because I did the die roll, and we went first, which is why we got secure covert transport right next to Bajor, or the Bajoran wormhole. So, all right. So we're gonna go first. We're gonna free play our Dabo girl to Quark's Bar. She's gonna immediately special download Intuition as another free card play engine, card draw engine. We're at any time going to download a VIP and a gold press latinum. Let's see here. So we're going to just get Grand Nagus Gint, actually. And then we have to get a gold press latinum. It's not in the Q's tent. I didn't think it was in the Q's tent. Okay, so we get those. We're not going to shuffle because we're going to be right back in here in a moment. We're going to free play Gint. And he's going to special download any rule card. We're going to get the rules of acquisition. And we're going to card play a Ferengi Conference directly to Gint. And that's going to get us... Alright, so let's do this methodically here. So we get Gala for 5. Because Ferengi Conference is doing the download and it's specifying where it has to go, and it has to be specifically where that person is, it's doing the reporting. It's overriding it in the exact same way that assigned mission specialist overrides it. It's identifying the target of who you're downloading, and it's identifying a specific location where they have to go. Okay? And so we're actually able to pull our mirror quadrant double girl in. So that gets us 5, 9, and we're going to go get the civilian half of the Troys. So Deanna for 11. I do love Ferengi Conference. Oh, whoops, messed up already. We're going to special download with Gala. We're going to special download the Hidden Fighter, as I said during the intro. One Hidden Fighter comes out immediately. And we go get Quark's treasure, and we grab the established landing protocols. Has to report landed. That's okay. We're going to have someone just go ahead and get on board it and take off. So now it's in orbit, basically. But it took 2 range to do that. Sorry, it took 1 range to do that. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do what we want to do this turn, but that's okay. Yeah. We'll go ahead and have Miss Sarda is going to see if she can draw a card with intuition. We're going to do a random die roll here. Generally speaking, most players are obviously playing decks that have majority personnel, and any given random hand is going to be probably like 50% personnel or more. So we're going to go any number between 4 and 6 that we random roll here will draw us a card. So we draw a 6, we do draw a card. We get Parlenor, which is not bad. We downloaded personnel this turn, so we're not going to defend Homeworld. We would have passed gold to our opponent immediately. And then we'll get to the end of turn and we'll have a regular card draw and a Know Your Enemy card draw. This is good. How good is that? Alright, so we're just going to Hidden Fighter immediately. And we're going to get Brunch Shuttle. Opponent has their turn, so we then go to our turn. We're going to go ahead and play... Yeah, we'll just go ahead and play Grand Nagus Zek for free. We will... And we'll go ahead and Ferengi Conference again. So we're going to grab... we'll grab a Marta. We'll grab a Nava. So that's 4, 7... and we'll grab Lek. Cool. All right. We're going to, and then this is, so I double checked this in the rule book, sorry, the glossary. And so I believe this is how this works. So first off, we're just going to have somebody take off on Brunt Shuttle just to put it into orbit as well. But we're going to just have beam down. We're going to have my Ferengi beam with the rules of acquisition directly onto Quark's treasure, and we're going to begin a cargo run. And we're going to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to here, and we're going to dock, and that completes the cargo run, and we passed 3 missions. So we get to draw and or download gold press latinum equal to 3. So we're going to just download our gold press latinum, and we're going to take 2 card draws. We're going to use the rules of Ferengi rules of acquisition. We're going to just place a rule card beneath the draw deck. Send to the bottom of the deck. And we're going to just draw a card. We're going to discard this gold press latinum while it's in Quark's bar. We're gonna walk people and do some stuff here. So we got lots of people here. So this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna have Miss Sarda as a non-aligned. Go to the wardroom. We're gonna have Nava go to the wardroom. We're gonna have Nazari is gonna special download Dabo onto Quark's bar, but then she is gonna go. She's gonna go to the guest quarters because she's mirror. She's gonna with Grand Negazek. The Troys are going to go to the promenade shops. And we're going to have Gala and Grand Negazgin's acquisition. And I suppose her, yada, 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 that guy. And they're going to walk all of this to Quark's bar. And so while at Quark's bar, we can discard it. And we're going to download Scepter of the Grand Nagus. And we're going to have and then that way we have Grand Negazgint holding his scepter in Quark's bar. Oh, let's just kind of maneuver this around just a little bit here. So we're actually going to, instead of, let's do it because it's too funny. Actually, we're going to have Grand Negazek's just going to relocate, and we're going to have Gala seems like he's a horny boy, so we'll have him do the with Nazari. So now we can do intuition. So we'll go again 4 to 6 to 3, so we miss on it. We'll stop and draw a card for Study Divergent History. And then we have the ability to go promenade shops at the end of turn. So we're going to probe. We miss on it. It goes back to the top of the deck. And then we actually have our regular card draw, our Know Your Enemy card draw, and our Celestial Temple card draw. Cool, cool. All right. So that was turn 2, and now we go to turn 3. So we're not going to Ferengi Conference this turn. This is the turn that we're just going to go ahead and probably do a Defend Homeworld. But we get Rom for free to Quark's Bar. We get Yedrin Dax for free to the Wardroom. We can do any one of these personnel back here at... so let's go with Parlenor. He seems cool. We can play our transport for free to the docking ports. Freighters and transports report for free here. And we still have a card play, but we have another free play yet. So the Scepter of the Grand Nagus. Your Nagus may allow one rule card to play for free each turn and prevent opponent from nullifying rules cards here, and they can also stun when adversary they engage per turn. But we just get to play a rule card for free with the Scepter. So we're just going to go ahead and play our 60-second rule of acquisition onto secure covert transportation. And then we have our actual card play, and this is the perfect moment for us just to go ahead and play Damon Bach directly to Quark's Bar, because Quark's Bar allows Ferengi to report there. Morn and Ferengi may report here. So we can just play Damon Bach directly there as a card play. Cool? Cool. Alright. So, let's go ahead then. And we see that our opponent has put 3 dilemmas here at this planet. We need to just start busting it somehow. Full disclosure, I designed and set these dilemma combos 4 days ago. So, and it's been a busy 4 days. So, I vaguely remember what I built, but I also don't really remember what I put together for combos, and I certainly don't remember where I put them. And so this will definitely be a fair test of my of this deck's ability to beat dilemma combos that I don't know what's coming really. One thing we are doing on purpose is we are, and I should definitely note this, is strategy-wise we are crushing Cytherians from our opponent because we're only playing, we're playing space missions. Our space missions are here in opposing quadrants. So that's kind of the consideration with which one you want to do. You want to do reopen trade discussions as kind of your primary option, but if our opponent's in the Gamma quadrant, you don't want to do it. You definitely want to do it if your opponent's in the Mirror quadrant, because you don't want to dance around with like that. So, but we're crushing an opponent trying to play with Cytherians. It also definitely hurts a few other things like Conundrum and stuff like that. So, Borg Ship Dilemma is also then pointless because it would go to here and then it actually goes right by and goes right off the space line without shooting anybody. So there's a lot of things, a lot of space dilemmas that we're kind of taking away from our opponent from being good. So yeah. All right, so let's figure out who's doing what. Let's just kind of figure out where everybody is and what they're doing. We want to protect, we need to protect a Nagus. And we want to protect Nazari for right now. We want to also protect the Troys because they're really good for doing space missions because they can, with their empathy, they can beat V'ger, they can beat all the diplomacy stuff. Yeah, but Yedrin Dax seems like he's pretty whatever. Nazari is also a Dabo girl, so she can just go ahead and be the Dabo girl for intuition. So Miss Sarda is expendable, so to speak. Alright, so again, we can't do more than 7 people, and we've got 7 people here. So we're just going to go ahead and take this Decora transport over, and we're just going to go ahead. We do not have transporter skill in play, I don't think. Maybe we want to send Gala instead of somebody else. Oh, we do have transporter skill. So we're going to send this 8th person. But the reason why we're going to send this 8th person... and we're going to do this. We're just going to kind of move these people around. Is that we're going to then have Damon Bach just be on the ship along with a staffing icon. Select, I suppose. This way we can beat Jolie Chu because Miss Sarda has the anthropology and so does Nava. With Grand Nagus Ram, we actually have a fair chance of being able to beat God, because he just needs to be him and then either of the Dabo girls to go through. And actually I suppose Nava too. Nava as well. In order to beat a God, so we're not going to worry too much about God. And we're just going to go ahead and attempt. Oh, dead end. All right. So be it. So be it. All right. This means we switch gears and we'll go do the space mission first. All right. Well, that makes things very easy. So, we will... Yeah, we'll go ahead and intuition. We'll draw a card from it. We'll stop Grand Nagus Gent and Nazari to draw a card. That's pretty good. We will wager some cards on the Dabo wheel. And then we're going to have... And there's no reason for us not to do this. We're just going to actually have the freighter come back. And then that way I can put Lek... I can put Lek here. We can just have Lek be there. So we're going to probe for the end of turn. And it's going to be both for... It'll both trigger the promenade shops and also the Dabo. So we probe, okay, icons, so we get these 6 points. We do not draw the card because it's not a successful probe for promenade shops. But we will once again draw 3 cards because we have regular card draw, know your enemy, and the Celestial Temple up and running. Cool. Oops. It would not be this card. We would have drawn Croton. Okay. We forgot to do our Defend Homeworld download, but that's fine. I'm not really like necessarily concerned that I want to blow that yet, because it also was like maybe we want to save it until we see what's here. So yeah, we're doing fine. We're doing more than fine here. Okay, so we go to turn 4. We'll play Berta for free. We'll play this transport for free. We're gonna play, because he has stellar cartography. Alright. So we don't have 2 people here for Wardroom, but we do have the possibility of getting 2 VIPs there. we're going to just do at any time relocations, and we're going to have the Troys do at any time relocation because they also can relocate because they don't have treachery. So then that allows us to play Croden for free to the wardroom, and then we can free play our rule of acquisition here with the scepter, and then we have a card play. And the question is what do we card play? We definitely want to draw cards this turn. We want to draw cards this turn, but we are right now extremely weak to a bunch of different things. We have officer. We have officer, civilian, VIP, science. We don't have like an engineer. We don't have an engineer. So I think we're actually just going to go ahead and card play. I think we're just going to card play Rurigan instead of free playing him. Oh, because that gets us 5. We don't have medical. And we don't have security. So we're going to card play Rurigan, and then we're going to defend Homeworld now. And we're going to grab a security, and we're going to get Muck. And we're also going to assume that our opponent never gives us our gold back. Just so we're all clear on this too. So, but we have 2 actual engineers here. Like they're engineers. And so between that and Rurigan, we're not going to have any problems getting through the persistent individuality if that's what we face. What I'm concerned about is that we only have 1 transporter skill in play right now. But if that's the case, then we can beat it on the next turn. So, all right, so let's load up on a... So what we're going to do is we're going to have this Ferengi freighter is just simply going to... Actually, no. We're going to have the Trollocs just simply load up and fly to here to pick these people up again. And then come back to Deep Space Nine. And then we're going to load up on this Ferengi freighter. And we're going to figure out who's going. So it's going to be... not them. Yeah, not them for sure. We need our engineer. We need our science personnel is already here. So we have VIP, officer, civilian, science, engineer, and Muck for our security. And then we just need to have 1 other person of any other person. It will not be the Troys because it will have 8 people. So we're gonna just go ahead and yeah, I suppose we will just have Miss Sarda. Actually no, let's have Nava. How much science are we bringing here? 1, 2. Yeah, we're bringing 3. Sorry, we're bringing 2. But we have like a bunch of engineers. Okay. All right. So this ship is going to go through the wormhole because we need to have navigation, science and navigation. That was the other thing we need to be concerned about is science and navigation. We have science, we didn't bring any navigation, so we're going to swap this out. And we're actually going to go ahead and bring Croden then. Because then we actually have the mission skills in case we face a lack of preparation of all things. So So there's our science and navigation. So we use the first stable wormhole. We're just going to discard a Ferengi conference. And we're going to download the navigation schematic. So that pushes us through without stopping. We've literally just used 4 range to get to here, and then we would attempt with these people. Oops. I believe that was the third dilemma. Grabbing the wrong things here. Son of a bitch. Alright. Steady plasma currents. Strength greater than 50. That's not going to happen. 7, 12, 19, 22, 29, 35. Alright, so we brought the wrong people. Alright. That's a bit of a problem. Okay. So, it looks like our opponent's going to force us off of our 60-second rule of acquisition. Because we're just going to have to bring a lot of people, I think. Which is fine, because we're not worried about that into, like, say, Cytherians. That's not going to be a concern. So, yeah, so we're just going to go ahead. We will intuition. That draws us a card. Okay. We'll stop and draw a card here. That's alright. We will risk cards on the Dabo wheel. Because we have 3 cards to risk. And then we'll probe for the Promenade Champs at the same time again. So it's a single probe. And it is an event. So we get the double hit. So we get the free draw. And we get the 6 points. Alright. So we're kind of ahead of the game here. We're not going to worry too much about losing our 60-second rule of acquisition. We are just going to have to make sure that we do 75th rule of acquisition instead. And we have obviously plenty of candidates here. So we are just going to go ahead. We're going to cycle. We're going to do the anytime again. And we'll do it on the opponent's turn. Because we get to use the rule of acquisition at any time with unrelenting lust for profit. At any time on our turn. So like what we'll do is at the start of our turn, we'll just go like, at the start of the turn, we'll go at any time. We'll cycle the card. So, yeah, we're not going to have any problem with that. Unless we happen to draw it. But we will once again just have Zeki Poo at any time. Relocate back. So he draws a card. And we'll draw 3. Let's see, we drew it anyway. So no worries. Okay. Alrighty then. So we go to turn 5. We'll have our Hyperion report for free. We will free play a 75th rule of acquisition. We're going to free play it, and we need to put it on somebody with diplomacy or acquisition. We have to put it on an acquisition personnel. Someone with acquisition. Oh, opponent's turn, we had Muck download somebody. I apologize, everybody. Once again. And we would want to go get our transporter skill guy, and he's also medical classification. So yeah, we get Grish. We get Grish on the opponent's turn. That doesn't affect anything we've done. So 75th rule of acquisition is going to get played on... apologize if you can all hear my little puppy girl freaking out. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just put it on. We'll put it on Grand Nagus Gint. So this is on Grand Nagus Ginty. Gint. Gint. Alright, so we're gonna have the Trollocs get commanded, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna move Brunch Shuttle to here because that's how far it can go. 3, 4, 5. Oh, we can't. It has to go to here. We will have the Trollocs go 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, well, I can't even do that. So never mind. Yeah, we're just gonna have Brunch Shuttle fly to here with these people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6, 7, 8. We'll have Quark's Treasure do it. We'll have Quark's Treasure fly to here, pick these people up, and fly back. And we'll just leave Brunch Shuttle floating in space for right now. And then we're going to have the Trollocs with its navigation. And we're just going to load everybody up. Because we got to figure out who's all going and what we're doing here. And I honestly believe that it's probably just going to be everybody going. Alright. But we do have a command and a command star and a staff star for the Trollocs. And we have navigation and we have science, so we can just go through. And you'll see in a moment here the fun little trick that we're going to do. But so we're going to just see, what do we have here? We've got all these people. We've got these people. And we're just going to say to heck with it. And we're just going to go through with the Trollocs. We'll discard a Ferengi Conference so that we're not stopped. We fly to here. And we'll just put everybody on board. We're going to have everybody go on board the Ferengi Freighter. And we will attempt. Okay, so we beat this dilemma. We encounter the Cytherians. We literally fly 1, 5 back, solve it. It goes in our pointers. And then we face the last dilemma, and it is a maglock. Okay. Yeah, we don't have that beat at all. We have 1 officer, I think. Yeah, we have 1 officer. So again, this is where I'm saying that like this deck struggles. We lost this. However, we do have Gary 7 at least. Unfortunately, his strength isn't good enough. Yep. This is a problem. This is why I'm saying that like this deck is so much better if you can play it with androids. Alright, so we're at 27 points. We don't have anyone back home to Dabo with, but that's okay. We have this officer who can get past it, and that's about it. So, alright, end of turn. We're just going to go ahead and drop 2. And we pass the turn to the opponent, and then we have our turn, and we'll just do a download. Yeah, we'll just download Gozar. We're going to download Gozar and then take a look at what else we have in the deck. I mean, we have William Riker, but we can't download him. We can download Gigas. Gigas has acquisition. Yeah, so we have the ability to pass it. It's just it's going to take us forever. And in the meantime, we need to do something else. So, what we're going to do is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, we can do that. So what we're going to do in the meantime is we are going to take both of our ships back through and dock them. And we're going to pitch cards. We're also going to just free play this here, just because we can. And I suppose we could free play. Oh, we have Solok in hand too. And free play Grawl here if we wanted to as well. We're going to just take Quark's treasure and we're going to fly it out to here and we're just going to beam everybody down an attempt. Okay, well, personnel with highest cunning. Lenore has a 9 of all things. Gint has a 9. Bach has a 9. Yedrin Dax is a 9. I'm not sure what the opponent would select. Opponent might want to hit Gint just to get rid of the 75th rule of acquisition, but we're not really concerned about that anymore. They probably want to hit Bach, so we'll have them just get rid of Bach. I have my reasons for thinking that. So, and then Exo and 2 leadership is not a problem. We have Exo on Mayhardu, and we've got double leadership. You know, Grand Negazek has leadership. I thought I had a second leadership. Maybe it was Bach that I had. No. I don't have a second leadership. Or is it law and archaeology? Oh, yeah. Law and archaeology. Duh. Maybe they would hit Bach. But if they hit Bach, I think Bach has the second leadership, right? No, he doesn't. No. No. We have law here. And we have archaeology somewhere else, I believe. Oh yeah, we have it on Muck. So even if they kill Grand Negus again, we would still pass it, but so yeah, they're gonna stick with Box. Okay, so we beat that there. Unscientific method, most cunning science. Well, he's a 7. Oh, it's definitely gonna be Yedrin. So Yedrin's gonna bite the dust. We still have, and we have cunning greater than 24. And then we encounter the unscientific method. We have 1 science here, 2 science here. We don't have a 3rd science. Oh wait, Yedrin Dax had treachery. He can't be selected. It's most cunning science personnel present without greed or treachery is killed. So it actually has to be Nava that dies. Oh, he doesn't have greed or treachery. Okay, so it has to be Nava that dies actually. Okay. All right. So that stops us there. And we just nullify that because we don't care. Alright. We downloaded a personnel this turn, so there's that. And then we'll just go ahead and draw 2 cards to end the turn. And we find our Gigas. Okay, so we're just going to play Gary 7, and then we're just going to download, we're going to use the Temporal Micro Wormhole, we're going to download Telecromore now. And then we're going to reattempt, and now we actually have our 3 science here again. And medical with Grish. That goes away. We solve this. We have the archaeology, the transporter skill, and the physics. Transporter skill, and of course physics on. So Mook has archaeology, physics, and then transporter skill and Grish. So our past Ferengis are how we solve this one. So we solve it for 30. Whoops. There we go. Okay, we take the Quark's treasure all the way back to here. We dock it, and then we can take, we'll take this Ferengi freighter. It's gonna fly, no, we're gonna take the Trollocs, sorry. The Trollocs can fly to here. We put people on Brunt's shuttle, and then they can both fly to here. Trollocs will be out of range, but Brunt's shuttle will not be out of range. We're no longer concerned about this. We still want to try to nuke our opponent's 10 points, I think. But we have to be able to beat 2 dilemmas here. So let's just send down 3 people and see what happens. So you and them, and they would attempt. They encounter temptations of the flesh. They would both stop and not be able to pass. We're assuming, like, we don't have any objectives in play, I don't think. We just have the one study diversion history. And that's it. Yeah, we have one study diversion here, so we'll assume that they have like probably 3 or 4. So it would be a stop 4 situation. So we're just gonna have to let the 60-second rule of acquisition go again, because I suspect that it's gonna be like we need 2 leadership or some nonsense again. So yeah, we'll just have everybody attempt. And we'll just let this nullify. And let's just say the 4 on the left will get stopped. And then we have a command star. Yep, Dr. Telecromore will go through on his command star, and these 4 will stop. So those 4 stopped, and then we beat it with a command star. And then, yep, friendly fire. Leadership, security, but I don't think I have a second leadership. Yeah. And I don't think any leadership got stopped. Yeah. No big deal. Yep, someone dies at random. Oh, there goes Ginty. And that's token 1, token 2. Not that we care. Okay. We're going to cycle this 35th rule of acquisition to download the other 75th rule of acquisition in a hand. And then, yeah. We go to turn 7, and we could just card play Gigas. We can free play 75th rule of acquisition out of Gozar, the Gozarian. And then we're quite literally able just to take everybody. And then we're able just to take everybody on board Cork Shuttle, go through, discard a card. Discard a card, and then attempt the mission. And we beat it now that we have the 3 officers. Each with strength. Officer with strength. Officer with strength. Officer with strength. And then Gozar the Gozarian has acquisition. And then we have diplomacy on Zeki Dude. And we have acquisition on Zeki Dude. And then we would score 10 points from this. Plus 10. Score 30 from the mission. And then we'd be able to go back and we'd be able to risk cards. We would be able to just risk any 3 cards on the Dabo wheel. And hit it with the Ferengi Conference for 6 more. And there you go. Turn 7, but we definitely came up. We came up against some pretty. We came up against like the toughest things that we could deal with. Again, officers with Maglog, it's hard. If we had faced Ghost of Cyrus Ramsey, it would have been equally difficult. So oddly enough, with this deck, it's like, as it is right now, there's definitely a bit of kind of push and pull with what you're good against and what you're bad against. And again, if we just had the ability to have androids in this deck, it would be so much better. Because how we would change the deck is instead of, we would still seed the Temporal Micro Wormhole, but instead of getting Telecra More, what we would do is we would download the Romulan with Cybernetics, T-Lac, I believe is his name, and we would do that like on turn 2, so that on like turn 3 we can start playing androids for free. And then we're playing free play androids, and so the androids can provide us with any. They provide us with strength. They provide us with any any classification, because we just play Soon type androids, and then we'd also have a couple of the like 22nd century ones, the ones that have transporter skill and stuff like that. I can't remember which one it is, but with that we'd be free playing exactly the skill. We'd be able to free play the skill holes that we have. And we'd be able to just take out some of these Ferengi that we put in order to cover those gaps. Like Bach comes out, and we probably take, Gigas here probably goes out. Gary 7 goes out, most likely. So we would have been able to like free play these cards, and we would have actually got a whole turn. We would have actually. Instead of it being turn 7 that we win, we actually would have won on turn 6. Because these personnel would have been free played instead of hard played. So instead of taking multiple turns to hard play them. So yep, that's how I would change the deck. we would need one additional seed card in order to seed that. What we would probably do, is, I'm not quite sure, but we'd probably just not do gold. I think gold would come out of the deck because I think a lot of cases our opponents are just never giving us the gold back. Especially when they start facing down like more of your kind and they become worried. You know, they're just like, I'm gonna take the punishment. Like, I can't beat it anyway, so screw it. So there's not really a whole lot that they can, you know, that they're willing just to take it because once they kind of figure out maybe that we're trying to 2-mission win, they don't want to give it back to us. So yeah. So gold probably comes out and we do cybernetics expertise. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed the deck. Definitely a different way to play Ferengi. We actually got to do a cargo run. It's actually a very relevant thing to do in this deck because it allows us to get our other equipment out in place. We have the rules of acquisition come out, and then also we get the staff of the Scepter of the Grand Nagus out. Yeah, without having to have Mayhardu be our defend homeworld download. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe. Please hit that notification bell so you continue to be notified of when I drop new videos. Alright, and in this case, it has a slightly different meaning, but may the prophets be with you.
You should ask yourself, with every decision you make, is this good for the